Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. But not Fishroom blog number 198. That's not just because I'm trying to get a bit more time in to get all my aquariums ready for the 200, although it might have had something to do with it. Today I want to talk about something that's kind of prevalent in the fish industry lately, and that is people trying to set up aquariums that require next to no maintenance at all. I understand the lure of that because, well, who wants to spend time cleaning their aquariums when they can just look at their fish? But there are some problems, and I want to talk about those today. Now, part of the reason I'm focusing on these tanks here is these were and are very, very low maintenance aquariums. I spend very little time on them. I set these up, the ones that you're looking at here, with their underground filters and their high humidity planters. I had to look up in the videos for this over 4 years ago, and a couple of them I hadn't even touched in that entire time. So now I'm beginning to strip them down. Part of the reason was not the first tank here where you see the platies now, but the tank next door to it where they were. I was beginning to get some issues, some health issues with them because of all of the, subwasser tang that was on the bottom. It was getting some dead spaces there and some mold buildup, and of course that can cause some chemical issues in the aquarium, but also because the underground filter is getting a bit plugged, and there's also a fair amount of detritus building up in the high humidity planter. And actually, when I took that apart, the Java fern that normally thrives up in there wasn't doing very well, and all these things combined were causing issues in that tank. And because I had cleaned out this one here on the end a couple weeks ago, I figured it was a good idea to move these guys all over and then of course strip that one down. And before I get too much into the maintenance issues for these, I also think I'm going to be trying to get back a bit more towards Java moss and less in the way of subwasser tang. I have a lot of both, and I want to try setting up a couple of these with mostly Java moss, and I want to see if there is any difference. This is going to be a really, really long term, trust me. I want to see if there is possibly a chemical problem with using subwasser tang over Java moss. I've used Java moss forever. I never had any problems with it, but I do want to set up these tanks here with a couple with more of the subwasser tang and see if they're causing a bit of trouble with not so much with other plants but with the fish. But anyway, that's long term. If I remember to get to it in a couple of years, I'll talk about it as well and let you know if there's actually really any difference, or is this something that I have just sort of anecdotally noticed. So anyway, back to today's topic, and the problem with it is if you have an aquarium that doesn't require any maintenance, either because of it has no filter, or it has just aeration, or it has the type of filters like these that don't require maintenance except in very, very long intervals, what happens is you don't look at them from that point of view. You don't look at them from a maintenance point of view. You look at them as, hey, I can look at my fish and they're fine and they're doing well. And what can happen, as in these cases here, a problem can build up and you just simply don't notice it because, well, you're not looking in an aquarium from a maintenance point of view. If it were a box filter, as I have a number of box filter tanks, box filters require, even the ones I build for the low maintenance versions, they still need maintenance every 4 months-ish. And that means you look at the aquarium differently. You look at it in the sense that, do I need to clean that yet? And you look at the fish, you are actually, cognitively aware of what's going on in the aquarium. Whereas with tanks that you are just housing fish because they're either growing out or are waiting for whatever, you don't pay attention to it as much. I mean, everyone if has any number of fish tanks in their fish room, there are always ones that you just don't really pay a whole lot of attention to, but this is also a different way of looking at it. And the other thing that I notice is when you have aquariums that don't really require much in the way of water changes or any kind of other form of maintenance, if you're just doing top-ups, what happens is the fish adapt to that. And then in essence, what happens is because they don't have to adjust their metabolism to change, they don't. And what happens in the long term of this, of course, is if you ever have to move them around for any reasons, they are no longer sufficiently tough to be able to take that sort of thing. And one of the things I've always tried to maintain in my fish room, because I use all these fish for clients, and they all need to be, of course, strong enough to be able to move around and be able to take it, and of course put up with the abuse that happens in a commercial setup. I tend to do a lot of water changes just for that reason alone, just to keep them used to that possibility. So yeah, that's one of the things you need to take into mind if you're going to set up something that is low maintenance. Keep an eye on it as if you had to maintain it, instead of just something that you can don't have to worry about that anymore. It's all set and it's fine. Because like I said, these tanks here, there's about 4 or 5 of them that I hadn't touched in a very long time, and they were getting to the point where I was getting some issues in them, and that is something, like I said, you need to keep an eye on. I mean, I do like setting up low maintenance and zero maintenance stuff. I have set them up for clients mostly because of their size. And if you have really large aquariums, they are more forgiving and can go longer periods of time between maintenance. I'm going to end up, the last clip is going to be of the pond in my fish room, and I know for a fact that I will never have to do any real maintenance on it, as far as, cleaning a filter, that sort of thing. I do water changes, sort of. I think I've done 2 in the time I've set it up, which is about 2 years now. I have obviously had to prune plants, and that is one of the maintenance things that, if you are doing zero maintenance, is kind of a misnomer, because pruning plants takes way more time from my point of view than cleaning a box filter or cleaning any other filter and doing a small water change. I spend most of my time pruning plants and keeping them under control. And that's one of the things I'm going to try and do a little bit more of going forward, because I find if things get too crowded, and I think this tank right here in front of us right now on the end here is getting to that point. If it gets to the point where the fish don't have enough room, if there's not enough flow through the aquarium, you can end up with problems that way as well. And like I said, I have maintained, many, 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 many hundreds of aquariums over quite a few decades, and I have 2 aquariums at the moment, but they're both over 300 gallons that haven't had any real gravel vacuuming or anything like that besides water changes in going over 20 years now. So you can do it. I mean, things like this is the pond now. It's big. Only has about 20 white clouds in it at the moment, waiting for me to start breeding them. And there's a bunch of interesting filters on there, and of course the big drum filter in the bottom. And yeah, it doesn't need any maintenance. I use this water for my paramecia culturing, so technically it does get water changes, but it's not exactly the kind of thing where you take a lot of water out and replace it. So anyway, this has been a long-winded video already. I just wanted to mention that if you're going to do the low maintenance thing, keep an eye on it as if it were something you had to maintain, because things can creep up on you. And anyway, that's all I needed to say. Thank you very much for watching. Leave comments. Let me know about your experiences with low maintenance, and see if there's anything that I might have missed, can add into another video, or just leave in a comment. So I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.